Is 31,700 pounds really a moderate retirement? The answer might surprise you. Every financial expert, every pension provider, every government-backed report says the same thing. If you want a moderate retirement in the UK, you need 31,700 pounds a year. That's the official figure from the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association, the PLSA, the most widely quoted retirement benchmark in the country. And for years, that number has terrified people. It's made them think they need a bigger pot, a later retirement date, another decade of work. But when I actually sat down and looked at what's inside that figure, something didn't add up. So where is all that money actually going? Because here's the thing that nobody talks about. The real risk in retirement planning isn't running out of money. The bigger danger is spending the best years of your retirement still working, chasing a number that was never really built for you in the first place. Every extra year you stay in work to hit some industry benchmark is a year you're not spending with people you love, a year you're not traveling when your knees still work, a year you can't get back. And I think that matters. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the PLSA's moderate figure was actually calculated, what's hidden inside that number that most people never see, which assumptions are quietly inflating it, and what a realistic moderate retirement budget actually looks like for most people in the UK. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you might realize you're already closer than you think. If you're within 5 years of retirement and you want honest numbers, not industry averages dressed up as advice, hit subscribe now. I cover this stuff every week, without the jargon and without trying to sell you anything, breaking down the official number right. Let's start with the figure itself. The PLSA says a single person needs 31,700 pounds a year for a moderate retirement. The full new state pension in 2025/26 is 11,973 pounds. That means if you receive the full state pension, you'd need an additional 19,727 pounds a year from your own savings. To generate that through a private pension, assuming a 4.5% drawdown rate, you'd be looking at a pot somewhere in the region of 430,000 pounds to 440,000 pounds. That's a lot of money. And that's precisely why this number scares people. But let's ask a question nobody asks. What does 31,700 pounds actually buy you? The first doubt. The PLSA's moderate standard includes a car, 1 2-week European holiday per year, eating out a few times a month, regular leisure activities, and 1,000 pounds a year set aside to help family members, grandkids activities, that sort of thing. That all sounds perfectly reasonable. But here's where it gets interesting. When I look at what actual mortgage-free retirees report spending, people who've tracked their real outgoings in retirement, the numbers are consistently lower, much lower. So why is there such a large gap between what the PLSA says moderate costs and what people actually spend? Industry insight. How the figure is made now. I want to be clear about something before we go further. I'm not saying anyone is misleading you. The PLSA are a serious organization, and their research is conducted by Loughborough University's Center for Research in Social Policy. But it's worth understanding exactly how these figures are produced. The standards aren't calculated from tracking real retirees' bank accounts. They're built from focus groups, groups of people aged 50 and over who are asked to describe what they think they would need. And what people think they'll spend in retirement is almost always higher than what they actually spend. There's also something called expectation inflation. The PLSA themselves noted that the moderate standard jumped by 34% in 1 year, not just because prices rose, but because people's expectations of what moderate should include went up too. Think about that for a moment. The basket of goods isn't just tracking inflation, it's tracking what people imagine they want. That's a very different thing. Personal story. When I first came across the 31,700 pounds figure, I'll be honest, I panicked. I ran the maths. I looked at my pension projections, and I thought, I need another 8 years of work just to hit this. Then I did something that changed everything. I tracked my actual current spending, not what I thought I spent, what I actually spent, month by month, category by category. And I realized that most of what sits inside the PLSA's moderate basket, I was already doing it, and comfortably on significantly less. The number wasn't wrong, it just wasn't mine. Real retiree case study. Let me introduce you to someone I'll call David. David is 68, lives in the East Midlands, owns his home outright, and retired 3 years ago on a combined income, state pension plus a small private pension drawdown, of around £22,000 a year. He takes 2 holidays a year, goes out for dinner twice a month, has a 5-year-old Ford Focus, plays golf once a week, cinema with his wife every couple of weeks, and says he's never felt financially stretched. He doesn't feel like he's missing out. He feels like he's living exactly the retirement he wanted. And his income is £9,700 below what the PLSA calls moderate. David isn't unusual. He's actually closer to the norm than most people realize. The main reasons, 5 key adjustments. Reason number 1, the car assumption official assumption. The moderate standard includes running a car throughout retirement. Reality. By the time most people reach 70 or 75, their mileage drops significantly. Many retirees I speak to find they're driving a fraction of what they expected. Some sell 1 car, some go car-free entirely. Example, if you reduce car costs by £2,000 a year, not unreasonable, that's already a 6% reduction in the moderate target. Lesson, your car budget in retirement will probably fall. Plan for what you'll actually drive, not a theoretical average. Reason number 2, the holiday assumption. The moderate standard includes 1 2-week European holiday per year. Reality, many retirees holiday differently. They go off-peak, they visit family abroad, they take long UK breaks rather than flying. Some years they do more, some they do less. Example, a 2-week European holiday in the model might be priced at £2,500, but off-peak, same destination, half that. That's £1,250 back in the budget. Lesson, holidays are one of the most personal categories in retirement. Don't let an assumed average determine how much you save. But this still doesn't get to the biggest issue with the figure, and it's the one most people completely overlook. Reason number 3, the eating out budget. Eating out several times a month is priced into the moderate standard. Most people I speak to eat out less as they get older. Not because they can't afford it, but because they simply enjoy cooking more. Tastes change, habits change. Cutting restaurant spending by just £100 a month saves £1,200 a year. Don't price in a social life from your 40s when you're planning your 70s. Reason number 4, the family support assumption. The 2024 PLSA update added £1,000 a year to both moderate and comfortable standards to cover helping family members with costs. Not everyone does this. Not everyone has grandchildren. Not everyone feels obligated or able to help financially. That's £1,000 a year, roughly 3% of the total moderate figure, based on an assumption about your family dynamic that may not apply to you at all. The moderate standard now includes a social generosity budget. Decide whether that's yours. Reason number 5, the ownership assumption. Official assumption. All the PLSA figures assume you own your home outright. No mortgage, no rent. Reality. If you're renting in retirement, you may need to add somewhere between £6,000 and £12,000 per year to the figure. And if you own outright, some of the housing costs in the model are already lower than you'd expect. For a mortgage-free homeowner in a modest property, council tax, insurance, and utilities might come to less than the model assumes, particularly outside the Southeast. The figure isn't one size fits all. Your housing situation is the single biggest variable. Hidden costs section. Now, I don't want to paint an unrealistically rosy picture. There are hidden costs in retirement that people routinely underestimate. Boilers break, roofs need repointing, bathrooms date, cars need replacing. The PLSA moderate standard does include some provision for home maintenance, but I've found that people often feel these costs arrive in lumps, not spread smoothly across the year. The best approach I've seen is what financial planners call a sinking fund. You set aside a small amount every month, say £150 to £200 odd, into a dedicated account. Not to spend, just to accumulate. So when the boiler gives up at Christmas, the money's already there. That's not an extra 1,800 pounds a year you need. It's a shift in how you hold money you're already saving. Personal reframe story. Years ago, I built a retirement spreadsheet with 20 different disaster scenarios. The boiler, the roof, a car accident, a care cost, unexpected medical bills. I added them all up. And the total was so alarming that I nearly convinced myself retirement was financially impossible for ordinary people. Then a friend who'd already retired asked me one question. Are all those things going to happen to you at the same time? Of course not. The lesson I took from that is this: plan for the likely, insure for the possible. Most years, nothing goes catastrophically wrong, and for the years something does, a small buffer consistently kept is usually enough. Practical framework. So what does a realistic moderate retirement budget look like? Here's a simple example for a mortgage-free homeowner outside London. Category monthly annual household bills, energy, water, council tax, insurance, £350, £4,200, food and groceries, £300, £3,600, car, fuel, insurance, servicing, depreciation, £250 and £3,000, eating out and socializing, £150, £1,800, holidays, £175, £2,100, clothing and personal, £100, £1,200, hobbies and leisure, £150, £1,800, health, private dental, optician, podiatry, £50, £600, gifts and family, £75, £900, home maintenance sinking fund, £175, £2,100, total £1,775, £21,300. That's a genuinely comfortable, flexible, holiday-included retirement with a full state pension of £11,973. You'd need private pension income of just £9,327 a year. At a sustainable 4% drawdown rate, that's a pension pot of roughly £233,000, not £439,000. That's a very different conversation. Psychology section. Here's something nobody tells you about retirement spending. After 40 years of building a pension pot, watching it grow, protecting it, never touching it, the hardest thing isn't running out of money. The hardest thing is spending any of it at all. Research consistently shows that retirees often end their lives with significantly more money than they expected, not because they got lucky, because they couldn't bring themselves to spend it. There's a name for it: the retirement spending paradox. You spend decades getting into saving mode, and then one day you're supposed to switch into spending mode. But nobody prepares you for how wrong that feels. Watching the pot fall, even when you can afford it, even when it's going exactly as planned, triggers something deep in the brain. It feels like loss. Understanding this doesn't fix it, but naming it helps. So I want to leave you with a different question. Most people approaching retirement ask, can I afford to stop working? I think there's a better question. Ask yourself, what happens if I never do? What does it cost you in time, in health, in moments, to delay retirement for a number that might have been built for someone else's life? That's the calculation worth making. Let's bring this together. The PLSA says moderate retirement costs £31,700 a year. For a single homeowner, that requires roughly £440,000 in pension savings beyond the state pension. But the figure is built on assumptions that may not apply to you. A particular holiday style, a full car budget, family support contributions, and average lifestyle expectations from focus groups. When you strip it back to your actual likely spending, a real mortgage-free life with holidays, a car, and a social life, a genuinely comfortable moderate retirement may cost significantly less. For many people, the realistic target is closer to £21,000, £24,000 a year, which means the pot required might be half what you've been told. That doesn't mean planning is less important. It means your plan should be built around your life, not someone else's average. You don't need a perfect retirement plan. You need a realistic one one built around the life you actually want to live, not a hypothetical benchmark designed to cover all possibilities for all people. You've worked hard for this. Don't let someone else's average decide when you get to enjoy it. If this video made you think differently about your retirement numbers, I'd love to know in the comments, what's your actual target income and how did you arrive at it? And if you want more honest, straightforward retirement content, subscribe. I post every week. No fads, no scare tactics, just the numbers clearly explained. See you in the next one.